Okay, just
Okay,
checking.
I'm going live right now.
Do I have to consent? Because it says I have to consent.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know if that relied on you. Oh, it says live on YouTube. All right, let me refresh the page and see what we're looking at. We have a live. We're all good, everybody. Paperwhite
So
5. Very nice.
it's been a
Hello.
while since
Yes,
we've done one of these.
we have. We used to do a weekly show, and although a very select few of people really enjoyed it, we checked the analytics, and our tech guys who kind of do the whole back end of YouTube messaged us, and we were like, "You guys are like losing a lot of subscribers," and we're like, "No way!" So he gave us access, and we looked at everything, and it was a lot of people left. So we scaled back, and Michael and I agreed that we'll just kind of do it every once in a while, kind of thing. So
Like
yes, hello
once a
everyone.
month, like the last Friday or last
Yeah,
Saturday of every month.
right. And this is a good one because what has just come out that is breaking headlines, Mike?
Well, the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite 5, which is probably the most compelling release, but we're living in a world now where there's a lot of new devices being announced.
Yeah,
There's like all sorts of monitors, like the Onyx Books Mira and Mira Pro.
yeah,
So it's like almost like a new category, like the Lumi series as or the and then the Max 3, they always had like HDMI's out to act as like secondary monitors, but now we're gonna get into the world of primary monitors, especially with the new Dasung 253. So Dasung is getting into like the 25-inch monitors, so it's
yeah.
Onyx, except they're offering like options in terms of like your screen size and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, anytime that e-ink is like opening up new product categories, it's pretty exciting because it's easy on the eyes, and for people who have like glaucoma or any type of other vision disorders, having an e-paper monitor makes a lot of sense. Although the 25-inch ones, they cost, they're like 1,500 to like
Yeah.
2 Gs plus.
I believe the same thing's going to happen with these new monitors that are coming out that are currently happening with 13.3s kind of thing. Like people are going to see the 25-inch monitors for $2,000 to $3,000 and be like, that's a lot of money. I'm going to buy a Lumi, or I'm going to buy like, a Dasung paper like 3 or 2 or something. And you scale back a little bit because we're moving into some of the biggest and most expensive e-ink e-paper products ever. We cracked the limit a couple years back with like the Lumi, the Padmu system, the Guido, and we're seeing $1,600 things. But now we're stretching into like we have the Ricoh 420, I think it's a 36-inch monitor by Ricoh Japan. We have these new monitors coming out that Michael just said from Dasung 253 and Onyx, and they're like $3, $4, $5,000 depending on the brand. This is some huge money. You can buy used cars that will last you a decade for $3,000. So it'd be interesting to see how this whole new culture of super hyper priced items is going to turn out.
Yeah, I mean it remains to be seen. Like nothing's really shipping until like December-ish. So people will be lucky if they can get them for Christmas. So
Yeah,
like, pretty well the biggest news in the e-reader world is like the Kindle.
it's
It's like,
huge, massive.
you know,
Yeah.
it's the type of thing where like whenever people ask me like what I do and I talk about like e-readers and stuff, like they don't really get it, but if you mention a Kindle they do. you
Everyone
know
in the world. We have people right now saying good morning from Malaysia. We have people from all around the world that join us and watch us. And yeah, just about every corner of the globe knows a Kindle at its most basic form.
Okay, so let's talk about the Kindle. The major selling points. Up until the 11 gen Kindles now, they've always had like 6-inch screens. Like ever since like the Paperwhite 1 came out
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 years ago, they've all had 6-inch screens. And so the Paperwhite 5, which is the base model, is coming out on October 28th. It has a 6.8-inch screen, and so it's pretty well like a 7-inch screen. So it has more screen real estate. And the one nice thing about it is that the back is completely flush. Like it doesn't
That's
have
nice.
like an asymmetrical design. Like I really wanted to like the Kindle Oasis just because of the bigger screen, but just like the asymmetrical design, it's like I couldn't really hold it properly for like
Yeah.
long-term reading sessions because like the back wasn't flush. It was like asymmetrical. So there was a
Yeah.
big hump on the back where like the battery and stuff goes. Whereas this is like the back of it is like a traditional Kindle Paperwhite. So
Yeah. That's a little bit of a split opinion. I agree. I didn't like the Oasis very much either, especially the way it turned out. Like the first gen had the over reliance on the battery case. If you removed it, it only had like 10% battery. The second gen was like the biggest screen they've ever done, other than the DX, which was a decade ago. But this was the first time Kindle deviated from a 6-inch ever, was the Oasis. And then an entire year went by and the Oasis 3 came out, the exact same shell, the exact same design. They just went to the bargain bin and got the Oasis 2 shells and add warm lighting. So it's like that's what we waited a whole year from. And since then, that was 2019. In 3 months, it'll be 2022, and the Oasis still has been unchanged for almost 3.5 years. But yeah, this new one is a little bit more cookie cutter, but it has some nice features, and it is kind of going back to its basic form, which is the black slab, except in a bigger shell.
yeah, so 300 ppi. It's like the Kindle Paperwhite 4 had 5 LED lights. This one has 17 LED lights. And not only does it have white LED lights like all the other Kindles, but it actually has amber LED lights
Yeah.
too. So you'll kind of get that warm candlelight effect. This is something that Kobo's really done with all their e-readers for like the last 6 or 7 years. And the only Kindle model that has had sort of that warm light effect was the Oasis 3.
Uh-huh.
So there's basically two versions. There's the Kindle Paperwhite 5,
Mm.
and then there's the Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition. So what are the differences between the two? Well, it comes down to internal storage and some other features. So the base model Kindle Paperwhite 5 has 8 gigs of storage,
Yeah.
whereas like the Signature Edition has 32 gigs of storage.
Yeah.
It also has some other things going for it, such as like an automatic light sensor. So you'll be able to adjust like the white and the amber LED lights based on environmental conditions. So if you're in a dark room, it'll be like lower light,
Yeah.
whereas if you're in a like really bright room, it'll set it so it's like
Yeah.
automatically. And the only other Kindle that actually had like this type of light sensor was the Kindle Voyage. And ever
Yeah. I
since
think they
then,
started that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they borrowed like the auto adjusting light sensors from the Kindle Voyage. So
Wait, one sec though, one sec. If you guys are unsure what we're talking about, on a lot of consumer electronic devices, at the top, you'll see these little circles. One is usually a camera, but if you see a circle that's a little bit dim right below the glass, more often than not, that's a light sensor. So when you cover it, it will become maybe more bright or more dark. If it gets tungsten light or fluorescent light or whatever light is around, it will auto adjust. And yeah, as Mike said, that kind of started back with the Voyage, and people were wondering, what's that little thing beneath the surface? It wasn't a front facing camera. Amazon devices e-paper have never had cameras. It's actually a light sensor. So that's what you get on the more advanced model.
yeah. So aside from that, they actually have like wireless charging on
That's
the
cool.
Signature
First
Edition.
time ever. Yeah.
Yeah, so they developed, like Amazon developed like a charging dock just for the Paperwhite 5 Signature Edition. It comes out in like December, and the Signature Edition is released like November like the 4th. So, basically like a week after like the Kindle Paperwhite 5. Both of them are on pre-orders like on most Amazon sites like ca.com.co.uk. Most Amazon markets like have that. But if you live in a country where you really don't have like you can buy a Kindle like locally or even just like online,
Yeah.
you can buy it from us like on our Good Reader store. So it's
A lot of, yeah.
goodreader.com/shop.
Yeah, we'll put that in the description of the video at the bottom. A lot of people are confused about that because they message us and they say, why would I spend more money with you when I can buy it on my own site? And that's the whole goal. If you guys live in an area where you can buy it on an Amazon site, that's what we recommend. It's better service, it's quicker, that's the way to go. If you live out of area, there's tons of people in the world. There's a big planet, South Africa, Papua New Guinea, Thailand. We have tons of customers from Malaysia and Indonesia. If you live in a place that you don't have an Amazon page, because Amazon only exists in a couple countries. It's not like 200 individual Amazon pages all have the Amazon Kindle. You can buy it through us and we can help facilitate warranties and shipping and all that kind of stuff. So if you have the ability to buy it yourself, absolutely, that's the way to go. If you need some assistance, we've been in the business for 13 years. We can most definitely assist you with that.
Yeah, so probably the biggest thing about both Paperwhites that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about is the inclusion of USB-C.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing because we saw the Oasis 2 and we're like, yeah, micro USB 2018, whatever. Basically in 2019, everyone's using USB-C. Amazon comes out with the Oasis 3, which we've already said is a minuscule upgrade over the 2, had micro USB, and then they had the new Kindle Basic now with glow light and everything, and everything's just micro USB across the board. So this is the first time a non-Amazon Fire tablet is using USB-C.
So basically, like most e-readers are using micro USB, like anything from Barnes and Noble to Kobo, any of the big players in the e-reader industry, they're still all using micro USB because it's just cheap as hell. USB-C costs more, but it's the type of thing where that port is like the future,
It's funny that Onyx was actually even on that before Amazon. They started with the Poke 2 International Edition, not the Russian edition, which had USB-C, and pretty much like the next 6 units they've made since then all have USB-C. So it's more of a universal thing. You just have one cord that fits into everything versus a micro USB, which is a trapezoidal shape, therefore a little bit more finicky. So it's just nice to have a more generic plug type.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of phones have USB-C, Android phones.
Yeah.
Most of them have like USB-C, whereas like iPhones, they still have like the lightning thing. Yeah. So if you have an iDevice, like an iPhone or like something like that, you'll need it. But with iPads, they use USB-C. So
do they? I honestly didn't know that. The new ones use USB-C?
Yeah, the last few generations of like the iPads have had USB-C, but Apple's pretty resistant to including USB-C on their phones just because like it's not as slim as like a lightning cable.
No, the lightning cable is the way to go, I think. And it's actually it's the male connector rather than the female connector because USB-C is more cumbersome, like you said, because it's like a round kind of, I don't know, like a pool floaty or something. It's very wide and bulbousy, whereas the lightning is extremely thin and like a little chip. So it's a much more satisfying insert when you put it in an iPhone versus like an Android USB-C. I just wanted to touch on the storage sizes. Now, a lot of times people just glance over the storage sizes and say, oh, 8 gigs is enough. I'll just get the 8 gig. When you turn on a Kindle with 8 gigs, an 8 gig version, not a manga model with 32 gigs, not an upgraded Oasis, an 8 gig Amazon out of the box only gives you 5.9 after an update with nothing else on there. So call it 5 gigs before things start getting full. So when you see the 8 gig, you actually only get about 5 user usable. Yeah, you can store stuff in the cloud and all that, but there's no SD cards. And if you start getting full with things, especially, if you have a device that has a lot of PDFs and stuff like that.
Or audiobooks. I mean, an audiobook file can be 100 MB. A PDF can be like upwards of 230 MB if you have a big medical text or something. Some audiobooks are like, a 500 megs
That's
to
right.
like a gig. It depends like on like how long it is and if it's
Yeah,
like an abridged versus an
that's
unabridged
right.
edition. So
And that's why the manga model back in 2015, I think, in Japan, they have so much manga in Japan that on an 8 gig version it would just fill up so fast. So Amazon's like, okay, specifically for the Japanese market, because they have a lot of manga, which is basically graphic novels or PDFs kind of thing if you want to dumb it down, they needed a bigger model. And then they said, hey, let's sell the bigger model everywhere. And then the Oasis had it. It's now the Signature has it. But just be wary that that 8 gig is not really on paper. That's like system 8 gig and you only get 5. So that might tilt your decision into getting the more advanced Signature edition.
yeah, so I mean, it comes down to it like if you're just reading ebooks that you purchase from Amazon and you're not siloing stuff, don't forget like Audible audiobooks are only available in specific markets. Like they're not available in Canada, but they
No.
are in like the US, and they're only available in just like one or two other markets outside of like the US. So as much as we talk about audiobooks, like it's not really something a lot of people will be like doing, but
Yeah.
you'll be reading a lot of ebooks. People just buy, read one or two books a month that they buy from Amazon. 8 gigs is more than enough. If you are the type of person that has like a large PDF collection, comic collection, manga collection, you do listen to audiobooks. Obviously, the 32 gig of the Signature will be sort of like what you're looking for. So, the Signature really is like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 bucks more than just like the base model. So it's not that expensive. But if you live in the States too, don't forget that you can save money by buying like the ad model with a
Oh,
special offers.
yeah.
We don't have that in Canada. They passed like some sort of like law that prevents Amazon from doing that. So Canadians like we don't even have the option to buy like an ad model. Everything's just ad free. And if you're sort of worried about ads and stuff like that, Amazon actually just released a firmware update maybe about 2 weeks ago. It was like part one of like a big change. So they changed like the home screen, they changed the library menu, they changed some of like the navigational entries and stuff like that. And so that's like all changing. So there's going to be a number of other changes that are going to be like quality of life, like enhancements and stuff. But one of the byproducts of this new update was that if you have a special offers edition, no longer are ads showing up on your home screen. So once you start to upgrade to like the latest update, they'll only show ads like when the device is actually like asleep, like
Mm,
you press the power button and you have like a book cover showing or something like that, it'll show like an ad there. And that's the only place the ads will show now. So special offers now are like less obtrusive now than they were like 6 months ago. So I hated ads like on the home screen because it was just like L'Oreal ads, like ads from like, like luggage companies or,
yeah.
take a trip to the Bahamas, it's like stuff that I had no interest in. If they like,
That's smart. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, the only thing that Amazon really promotes now on the home screen is just like books, and they just have like recommended books that go down like a page or two. You can actually swipe up and actually see more recommended listings, and just basically those listings are tailored to you based on like the books that you actually have in your library,
Right.
and they don't read siloed books, but because like most often they don't have the right metadata and stuff unless you use like a third party thing like Caliber and actually have the metadata for like the book, where Amazon can read the metadata and then use that to recommend to you.
Yeah.
So most for the average user, it's just based on books that you purchase from Amazon, books from the same author, books from the same genre,
Yeah.
recommended reads. It's the same as like if you like go to Amazon.com, like on your web browser, search for a book, and then it'll have like
Yeah. Yeah.
sponsored
Yeah.
books, and then it'll have like other people, looked at these books instead, or other people
Yeah.
have bought these books. So that type of like website experience, like on sponsored books, books based on like your reading habits, books that other people have looked at. That's what's on the new Kindle home screen now. So it's changed a little bit, but you know, it's all about books now instead of just like ads, you know, trying to
Yeah.
be shoved down your throat.
Let's do a quick screen share here. So you can see my screen here, Mike. I'm on the right one.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just show you real quick what your buying decision looks like on a couple sites. So this is the Japan site. Now you do have the advertised and no ads, so you can get it without ads. And when you do, the price goes up to like 89 bucks, for example. And then we'll go to the American site to show you guys you have the ads and no ads right here. And when you select without ads, it goes up to 109 US. And here's the one Mike said. Canadian site no longer has the ad toggle. So it is gone indeed as of the latest.
Well, this is, you're looking at the base model Kindle and not the Paperwhite.
I know. I'm just saying that yeah, I'm looking at the same thing on all of them. This is the base model and the base model and the base models. So pound for pound, the Canadian site .ca does not have an ad toggle anymore. The American one does, and the Japan
we never
one
had like an ad toggle. It was just like
but we did have an ad version and a non-ad version in Canada. And we used to, before we got hookups from Amazon samples, we would always buy the one with ads because it was cheaper in Canada.
Yeah, I don't know when they passed like this law, but it was like more than 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, it's just one of those things that it's just one of the quirkiness of being in Canada. So you know, as we're sort of marching towards the end of the year, everybody's like holding events, everybody's like announcing like new products. Now, there's some new products that we've heard that are coming out, but they were like not like off the record. So they were like on the record. So there are a few big name companies going to be releasing something by the end of the year. And there's multiples of them. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Like, you know, in terms of the big three companies like are going to be releasing new stuff, not just Amazon, but you know, the other companies. And then there's like, you know, some of the Chinese companies are going to be releasing new products. You know, I think like iReader just released like a few different styluses, like digital stationery. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Like Apple just held their like event where they announced like the iPhone like 13 series, which I'm probably not going to upgrade to. As you guys know, like I use my iPhone as my daily driver, but I had like the 12 Pro Max, and like the only thing that's like really exciting for me is maybe like, I don't know, the 120 megahertz like you know, refresh. But most apps are capping at 30 anyways, so it's not like a huge selling point. And like shooting like in RAW, so being able to like shoot like raw footage without having like anything compression. So you could like shoot it in like 4K and it being like raw footage that I could like edit like in, I don't know, like Premiere Pro or like whatever's like the video editing type stuff. But I don't do like a lot of video editing, you know. I don't shoot like raw. Although I have the option to do it, I guess, if I bought the 13. But yeah, I mean, just like it's an incremental upgrade that's like really not that compelling to me. Microsoft just held their event where like they announced like 5 or 6 new like laptops and Surface tablets and stuff that are all going to be like running Windows 11. Google, I think, is holding an invite like sort of like a thing next week where they're going to be announcing more Pixel stuff. I got invited to like an Amazon event on the 28th. So they're probably going to be like announcing like
the signature edition.
No, they've already sort of like announced
We announced that, Michael.
Well, we were like the first ones that broke the story on it because of like an Amazon bug on just the Canadian site that like had like the, you know, that all the time on Kindles and stuff, they on the product pages, they have like a comparison tool sort of like halfway down. It just says like, this is the basic, this is the Paperwhite, this is the Oasis. These are like the differences between the two. But then they actually had the Paperwhite and the signature edition on there like 2 or 3 days or more before they actually removed it, and then everyone picked up on our story, like CNN and Engadget and The Verge and everyone like that picked up on our story. And then Amazon really couldn't they couldn't really wait until the 28th to
Yeah,
announce
yeah.
this. They had to sort of like, uh,
I think
promote it themselves.
I think you and I both got like a few weird phone calls on our personal phones too asking about it. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I guess they caught wind of like how it wasn't like the biggest story in the world. And they put it on their public website. We didn't do anything, underhanded or anything. But yeah, we were getting like phone calls. And I was like, who the heck is that? And then they were asking stuff. And I was like, that's not, we're just not gonna, we're just not gonna deal with that. Like it's not our prerogative to say anything we don't know. So then a day later, when it got more public, we did a little follow-up video, said some specs, and now it's everyone knows about it. But yeah.
Yeah, so on the Amazon 28th, they'll probably show some hands-on with the Paperwhite, but they're going to be showing, there's been some leaks on what's going on through Bloomberg and a few other sites. Amazon's going to release their own soundbar, so like their own Dolby Atmos soundbar. I should probably do like a YouTube short story because I just recently moved. Last time we did the Goody Reader Live, I was at that other place, the sort of the 2-bedroom condo. So I moved into like a 2-bedroom, 3,000 square feet, new apartment or whatever. So it's like I'm the first one ever live here and stuff, which is pretty nice because everything's like spick and span. But there are some caveats, they never installed like a light above me in my office or in my bedroom.
I noticed that you got a lamp in the background there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to call an electrician and basically they're gonna come over, measure what type of light I need. I got some info from the developers that built this building. They basically completed the building in April, and I moved in May. So this building's sort of new, and it's only I think that there's maybe 30 suites in the whole building, but it's only 20% occupied. So
nice.
I have basically this whole floor to myself, and there's no one above me. There's no one below me because it's retail spaces below me. So that's kind of nice.
Nice.
So yeah, on the Amazon event, they're going to be announcing the soundbar. They're going to have there's a rumor that there'll be a 15-inch Echo device that could be mounted to a wall or on a stand. So this will be the largest Echo screen device that they'll sort of have, which would be kind of cool. And there might be more wearables. So there might be an Echo glass or sort of the Amazon glasses, the 3rd generation. I had the 1st generations when it was only invite only, and then they had a 2nd generation. So they'll probably do a 3rd generation. What are Echo frames? They're basically just glasses that have speakers that that touch your ear here, and you could just launch Amazon ad Amazon commands and stuff. So I could play music through my Echo speaker. Most of my lights in my place are smart lights that I have it through Alexa, so I could just tell them to turn on or turn off my lights and stuff, and they'll do it. So I having it in the glasses, I could before I even get home, I can just tell them to turn on all my apartment lights and stuff.
Nice. We should play an audiobook through the Amazon soundbar with the new Paperwhite when we get it. I wonder if they'll send us a soundbar sample. I mean, they sent us the Fire phone back in the day. Remember, they sent us all subsequent Amazons and the Fire tablets. I wonder if they'll send us that TV. Aren't they making a TV? Right?
There's been rumors that they are. So at this 28th event is probably when they would sort of announce it. Yeah, well, they do their bigger products at dedicated events. They used to announce Kindles at those events, but they kind of just use them for stuff that sells now. Kindles sell, but not as much as like new Echo speakers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
The
like,
the stuff that appeals to the average consumer. Anyone can use a speaker, anyone can use a tablet, but it's more niche when it comes to e-paper products, which is why they kind of prioritize the other things like that. It's like Sony, they have a digital paper division and hanging on by a thread through Goody Reader, but they have all their other consumer electronics that they put much more of an emphasis on, of course.
so since we've done this Goody Reader Live, there's been a number of new products that have come out in the last few months.
Yeah, kind of. I wrote it down here because just to remind myself. In the e-reader world, the biggest stink going on right now are the infamous triplets, which is the e-write by Whiskey, the Reinkstone R1, and the Topjoy. The Whiskey was just like back in the day, kind of super shady kind of thing. No one really bought into it. The Reinkstone showed a little bit more legitimacy in what everything was going on. Less, product and manufacturing constraints. We got our sample. We have it in the studio downtown, and
yeah, we've shot like 5 or 6 videos on it.
Every subsequent update has been both updated and shot a video on. Now, Topjoy seems to be from the product is going to come out and everyone can get them standpoint, the most real and legitimate. So Topjoy has, I think you facilitated the sample being sent to us at our testing.
Like they have 2 models. They have a 6-inch, which is just like a basic reader, and then a 7.8-inch, which is like an e-note that comes with like a stylus.
Right.
You just heard us mention these companies. The big selling points behind their devices is that they're not using like e-ink screens or color e-paper screens. They're using like new screen tech called like DES slurry. It's displays more colors than a typical e-ink screen.
Yeah.
And with color e-ink, you can't actually turn the colors off because it's a part of the screen. Whereas with the DES slurry, you can turn all the colors off and just have a black and white screen at like 300 ppi. So you can do colors or you could just do black and white. So you do have that option.
And you don't actually have an actual toggle on any e-ink color device. You can't toggle it, but on this DES, it's not even made by e-ink. It is a completely its own. It's their own dudes in China at Weifeng that make it, and they sell through Good Displays, who is actually a partner with us now. So the tech is real. We've seen the tech. We've had the Reinkstone. We've had some testing samples, some test kits and stuff like that. It's all completely real. You guys yourselves can buy the actual, EPDs, the electronic paper displays yourself. But yeah, it's really cool. It has some advantages over e-ink where, like Mike said, you can toggle it and like the colors are super vibrant and everything. But then it has some staining issues because they're on their very first gen. Whereas e-ink has been in the business for like 14 years, 17 years actually.
Yeah, they've ironed out all the kinks.
Oh yeah, they've literally ironed out.
Whereas like DES, it's like it's so new that like there really isn't a lot of public documentation. A lot of hackers haven't got their hands on it yet and have written like white papers. DES like only did like I think like a 17-page PowerPoint presentation that was sort of like in broken Chinese. It was in broken English from like a Chinese native speaker. So
someone like literally translated it word for word, and it didn't make sense. Like we could read the words, but it didn't make any sense. So we actually had to bounce back and forth between the only guys who are the most vocal, which is Reinkstone, the only guys that applied it to any practical delivery of an item. So we talked to them and they gave us a little bit of an idea, and we used like the bathtub analogy and like how it's one single cell versus individual pixels. It's super overly technical. If you're into that, you can hit us up and we can help you out with some sheets we have. But needless to say, it's vibrant, but it's not as crisp because they do have a lot of refresh issues right now. Yeah, and the Topjoy is using the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, Reinkstone and Topjoy are like the first 2 companies to really ever adopt this technology, and they're both using crowdfunding to raise capital to do the manufacturing process, invest in more R&D to iron out some of these bugs. Like Ringstone's been pretty proactive ever since they announced the device. They sent it to us first, and we've been like sending them bug testing reports, just like to help them be able to refine their technology. So when they do release it, it'll be pretty awesome, but they'll be able to also share their findings with like their competitors too, because like Ringstone and Topjoy, they're not the same company, but they're close to each other, like in the same sort of tech park. So, you know, obviously they probably go for beers with each other, or like the developers or the executives, you know, they're hanging out at the same places, you know, like if you want to go to like a premium Kobe steakhouse, like there really isn't that many probably in that area. Or if you want to like go to like a high end like bar, there probably isn't a lot. So everyone's kind of going to the same place and talking to each other. So yeah, Topjoy is sending us like their 7.8. We should be getting it this coming week, and we'll be doing like an unboxing video, like a review video and stuff like that. So we'll be able to actually have two DES slurry devices to compare against each other, the Ringstone and Topjoy. So we'll be able to see like, does one have a competitive advantage over the other aside from just the larger screen, but how has R&D played a part in like staining and bugs and like, you know, the amount of colors that it could display? Like, is Topjoy doing anything different than what Ringstone is doing?
Right.
Or are they both pretty well doing the same thing? So, you know, those are the types of questions we like to answer, because DES Slurry is just like, it's the first true competitor to e-ink. And
the first one.
Like there's been so many other companies that have tried to compete with e-ink that have failed, like Clearing as an example, where they've been like in R&D hell for like 10 years. Plastic Logic tried to be a competitor to e-ink. They did like a smartwatch. They did some sort of like windsurfer jacket with like an e-ink like, you know, tag on it and stuff. They've done some things, but they haven't been like successes. They've just been like pretty well, one company bought this for this. You know, one company did a crowdfunding campaign for like an e-ink sort of smart bracelet that could change colors and designs based on an app, sort of like the Sony Fez Watch and the Fez Watch U, similar to that, where like, you know, the designs are controlled with an app. You could make your own designs, or you could just like, you know, do that.
Like that.
A lot of smartwatches. It's a lot of the e-ink smartwatches.
E-ink smartwatch, except for this guy. This is actually the Fitbit 3 that you got me, Mike. Remember you sent that over on my birthday that time. No, we got the Fez watch, we got the Fossil e-collie watch, and we got the smartwatch Smart Band Talk by Sony. Sorry, I just had it there as you were talking. Mike, the Topjoy they're sending us is a 7.8, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. We only have the 10.1 by Ringstone, which is made by the same guys, but it's bigger. So when you have a smaller screen, naturally the compression of the resolution is more dense. Therefore, yes, it would be an extremely good thing to see them side by side. Now, I know that when we do these videos, it's never going to be as good as the naked eye, because it's e-paper. That's the joy of it. But, you know, we do as best we can. We do flat shots. We make sure we zoom in to see the individual pixels as best we can to give you guys an idea, because like we've said countless times before, none of these devices are available in stores. Aside from an Amazon booth and maybe a Kobo booth, and in the States, a Barnes & Noble booth, you can't go to a store and say, hey, look, an Onyx. Oh, cool. Boyu P78. I'm going to try it. It has like a security tag. They don't exist anywhere. We're basically the only guys that have, you know, 3,000 plus videos on YouTube to give you the best experience possible digitally. Overseas, it's hard to do. You know, it's like telling someone what something tastes like. It's really hard to do. But yeah, stay tuned for those videos. They're definitely going to come out.
There's like cigar YouTube channels or smoking YouTube channels where they'll be like, these are cigarettes from like China, and like, you know, this is what they smell like, and they light it. It's like, this is what it tastes like.
See, you smell it. I mean, put it near the camera.
They
you ever see those videos of those guys eating burgers from different countries?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, here's the burger at Malaysia. No, it's really good. And it's like, I don't know, right? Like how it tastes. I know you're describing to me as best you can. I understand you can't ever show me how something tastes, but
they'll do like this is $1,000 burger and this is like a $5 burger.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's fun to watch, but
It
I'm not,
is, but
I'm
they
not
have
along
to
with the
like
ride, man.
a lot of them just like don't use like they don't have like a wide like vernacular
Yeah, you
where
can't eat a
they
burger and say, "Yeah, it's good. Yeah, there's cheese on it. It's really good." No, you got to describe it. You got to
yeah.
have a good vocabulary to be able to, I see. I couldn't do it. I can't even talk about it, which is why we do e-readers.
Yeah, I mean,
You could do it, my guy. You got a good vocabulary. I don't. I'm not a
yeah,
thesaurus.
we're always like investing in new cameras and new lighting
Yeah.
systems and stuff in order to be able to like give you guys like the best experience possible. Because like
Right.
like reading books is fringe enough, but e-readers are like more fringe than like reading paper books. So
Yeah.
we're pretty well the only channel that just like reviews like everything. Like
Yeah.
this the Fujitsu Quaderno, like the new generation A4 and A5, like they're the best sellers on our website. And not only that, but it's like we're the only ones that ever did like a review of it, like a
Yeah.
written review and like
Video review
videos and like
comparisons.
comparisons and stuff. Because like it's only available in Japan, but it's English, so anybody can like use it. But we're the only people that are sort of doing it, but we don't like rest on our laurels and like shoot everything in like 1080p. It's like we're always like investing in like
Yeah.
like the camera we have now is like 4K. You could put like different lenses on it now and stuff like that. At some point we'll probably invest in like a red camera that's a fully modular camera that will shoot like an 8K.
Yeah.
But
Those are
a
cool.
lot of people don't have like 8K screens like on their computer or on their phones yet. So there's no really good reason to like start shooting in 8K. But all of our videos, if you guys have noticed, like in the last like year and a half, maybe,
Yeah, a year and a half.
yeah, has all been like in 4K, like true 4K. So we know a lot of like screens, the computer monitors now. Like I have like an LG ultra fine monitor, and like it does stuff in like 4K, but it only does it like in 60 frames like per second. But it's because like it's more of like a color accurate monitor like that I use like so I use it to plug this into my monitor, so I can use either my PC or I could like switch to like my Mac. There's like a little switch on it, and so yeah, I mean that's why I bought this, because like I could plug my iPhone into it and have my iPhone mirrored. So if I want to do like app reviews for the iPhone, I could like upload it to YouTube and do it like that. Or if I want to show the new Mac OS or something like that, this is the new beta build, this is the new features that they've done. Those are types of videos that we don't really traditionally do, but I do have the ability with my monitor to be able to like plug in Apple devices or like Android tablets, but they don't really make Android tablets anymore.
No, they got a couple that you find in the bottom shelf of Walmart. Behind the glass underneath the phones, you'll see some tablets. I wanted to mention something because I remember yesterday when I got home from the office, I brought this home with me. Looky, give you guys a little bit of a sneak preview. Unopened, I completely unopened. This is the Pocketbook InkPad Lite, and we are going to start production on this in a couple days. Some guys are writing the scripts for me to say and stuff like that. 9.7 inches, guys, and if you don't know why that's significant, is because there are almost no large screen e-readers anymore. Not large screen e-notes that are, $7.99. Large screen e-readers are basically the InkPad X, the Face Note with Chinese only, and you can't even go online, or the InkPad Lite. It sucked. And it was a white label of the iReader, which is really good with no touch screen. And it was just terrible. The Face Note N1, like we have, Mike and I were talking about like, we can't sell it because no one's going to buy it. Let's do a giveaway. No one's going to want it. Like we can't even give
You know what we
should
do with these crappy things?
What should we do?
On our YouTube channel, you know how we do like the top 5 e-readers of the 2021, or like the top styluses of 2021. We were just actually talking on the phone the other day about it's an annual thing that we do on Good e-Reader on our YouTube channel, but we also do like written reports on that video, like on our website, where like we say, these are like the top like digital note-taking devices of the year. These are the top e-readers of the year. These are the top styluses of the year. But we haven't really done these are the worst, like, we should almost like, because of like all of these like really, we laugh at some of these really crappy devices that have come out either this year or towards the tail end of last year. We should almost like do like a top whatever of the worst e-readers, because it's like they're just so bad, like
we did
slow and they crash and like, it's I mean,
we did a top 5 worst of all time. Earlier this year we did a top 5 worst e-readers of all time. It was mostly just to honor like the absolute worst of the worst, like the iRiver Story, the Texter Beagle that didn't even have Wi-Fi or a USB cable and it ran off AA batteries. But you're right, we should almost tell people the worst ofs every single year, because we always tell people what to buy, obviously, because we're a store, but we also have the we
write reviews on it also. Like we have a deeper understanding than just like a website that just lists tech specs,
right? And we have a passion for it, which is why we kind of know. And when I remember when we used to do some reviews, we're like, oh, why won't you work? And like, if that, shaking an e-ink screen doesn't show passion, I don't know what does. We will implement that. We'll do a worst of the year every year moving forward. That's a good idea, because you know what? Sometimes you guys got to know what not to buy. And that's just true. So
because like, there's e-readers that are available in specific markets. There's e-readers that are available with, that are in stores in specific markets, like in the US, or they're sold on Newegg or, Amazon.com. There's a lot of cheap shit that you can buy that aren't like available.
Can't monetize now. Oh, you blew it. That's okay.
But yeah, there's cheap
can't
stuff.
Cut that. Yeah.
I mean, is that bad?
No, I'm not going to monetize this anyways. The lives are just for you guys. We don't we can't run ads if you swear, but that's okay. We need to tell people what not to buy sometimes, because sometimes it needs to be said that like this is just not good, because it's true.
Yeah, whether it just came out this year or like last year, it's still considered new in the e-reader world. So an example of something not to buy off the top of my head is like the Kobo Nia.
Oh, what an awful device from such a great company. Kobo is awesome, man. And like, I almost just want to say, every Kobo that has come out is good in its own way. And it has been, from the waterproofing, from the pioneering of the glow light, the comfort light. And then the Nia comes out.
Like more often than not, their devices, their hardware is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like some people have said that they like receive stuff with like light spillage, but that's rare occasions. It's not like it's a fundamental problem with the hardware. Maybe it was just like a bad batch or something. But more often than not, Kobo makes pretty solid consumer devices. I mean, they've been in business probably about 2 years less than Amazon. So, like roughly like 12 years they've been around for, maybe more. I
think they're the second longest that is still in business.
Yeah,
the longest would be Sony, but they don't really do it anymore.
Their first device was like 2009, I think.
I think it was just called the Kobo e-reader. Right?
Yeah, then it was like the Kobo Touch afterwards.
And then the Kobo Touch, and then all the special stuff.
Yeah, it had like that weird like plastic D-pad on it or whatever.
Oh yeah, the rubber D-pad thing that if you press it, it's the size of your thumb, so you don't really know where you're pressing, and there's little indicator dots. That's right. Why don't we go to some questions we have from some people and see what's going on with that? Michael says, China cat sunflower. Will Amazon be releasing a Kobo Ellipsa competitor?
No.
Okay. Bye.
Like, I mean, Tolino's going to do it. I got invited to like a Tolino road show where they're gonna they never said it, but they never really have media tours
Is
unless
it
they
going
have
to be
new
their white
devices.
van that just drives around with a loudspeaker? It just says Tolino
No.
and paint on it.
And they always announce devices in the past at the Frankfurt Book Fair because
Yeah.
like Toledo's a German company, and they always like use like the digital event the day before the book fair to announce new Toledo devices. But obviously this year and last year they never really happened,
Yeah.
so they're doing like their own events. So basically Toledo, and by way of Belgium and all like the German speaking countries around that sort of like the satellite ones like Switzerland and stuff that have like, they're not a German country, but they have a large demographic of people who speak German, so they sell those devices everywhere. So yeah, the Kobo Ellipsa will be rebranded into the Toledo whatever. But yeah, they will be doing like that type of thing. Kobo getting into like digital note taking was something that surprised me.
And that's why a lot of people are asking about the Amazon equivalent, because the Kobo thing was so out of nowhere. They filed an FCC for an e-reader, and we thought it was going to be the Mini 2.0, and it was the Nia. And then we're like, oh, great, this is nothing. And then they're like, another FCC, we're going to make another e-reader. And it was a note-taking e-reader with a battery-powered capacitive pen. And we're just like, what is this? And it's a Kobo. So that spurred, it's like, and you know a lot, Mike, about what's going on in the background of Amazon, but a lot of people are like, well, if Kobo is going to do a note taker, why can't Amazon? And that is true. It's true to assume that potentially they could do something like that.
So Amazon has no plans. They aren't even like R&D in it right now. Amazon is like a company that just focuses on like consumers because they sell books. And if they have like a digital note-taking device, it's like a new segment where it's like books aren't as important as like drawing and stuff like that is. And because Amazon's like the number one bookseller, like in the US, UK, many other countries, including Canada, that they probably won't do it. I've actually got some new contacts at Barnes and Noble too, including like higher executives that like run Nook or run the website e-commerce division, and and some of like the people that work underneath them. And Barnes and Noble actually doesn't have any plans right now on an e-note, not even on their roadmap. And they have like a roadmap going from now until like a few years from now, which they haven't been able to do before because they were a publicly traded company, revolving door of CEOs.
That was insane.
When
Their track record is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it this way, Pete. Say like I got hired to be like a CEO of an e-reader company.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just like go there on my own. I'm gonna like get you to come with me because like you know what I mean? It's like if there's anyone that like you're my like right-hand man. And so when CEOs go and work for other companies, they bring executives with them that have worked with them at previous jobs. But what has happened with Barnes and Noble is, like, say Peter comes with me, and then I leave Barnes and Noble as a CEO or I get fired. Peter's still working there, and so and then someone else will come in and they'll be like, well, who's this guy? Like, I've never met him before, but because he's now been working there for 3 or 4 years, I can't just like fire him. So times Peter times of like 4 or 5 different versions of Peter. That's like what Barnes and Noble happened when like 5 or 6 different, 4 or 5 CEOs, roughly in about 6 or 7 years, were at Barnes and Noble. So you have all these like people that didn't really understand a Nook. They didn't really understand ebooks. They didn't understand this and that. They all had different agendas. Now that Barnes and Noble got bought out by like a hedge fund company, and they are no longer a publicly traded company where they sell shares and stuff. They are private. So they can actually have roadmaps now and not have to like say we have to release stuff Q4 every single year, for better or for worse. They could actually take their time and release like better devices and stuff now because time is on their side. So that's the one impression that I got from talking with them, is they actually have a roadmap now, which they never had before. But the e-notes aren't on their roadmap, and is not on Amazon's roadmap either.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see if they will make something completely out of left field again, because pretty much every single Barnes and Noble device ever has looked completely different than the previous one. And then they even made the Glow Light 3, which harked back to the Glow Light, which is like far back few generations, because they pretty much had no inspiration to make anything else new. It's a crazy course of events. We have a video on it. It's a 10-year wrap up on our YouTube channel about excuse me, everything that Barnes and Noble kind of went through. And yeah, everyone that just walked into the company had their own vision of what the thing should look like, and it just ended up looking not that great.
Yeah, some people weren't bullish on it at all. Some people like just ignored it completely and was just like, let's like, get more money from publishers to like showcase their books in all of our bookstores so we can make like another $100 million, or let's do this. Let's kill off Nook Video. Let's kill off like the Nook App Store. Let's kill the R&D center in Santa Clara. We could save like 30 million a year. And then everyone's like, Yahoo, you just saved us like, a total of 100 million, but then you just like killed off everything that made us unique.
Every single thing. Yeah.
But
people potentially even had subscriptions with.
The last thing I'll say about Barnes and Noble is, if you guys like the Nook or want to learn more about it, follow Nook on Twitter. Whoever's running that Twitter account is like awesome. It's like, it's a hoot. They tweet like 3 or 4 times a day, and like it's always great. Like whoever they hired to like run their social media now, tremendous. The best e-reader related Twitter account in the industry right now.
Nice. Someone said, Ben Pessoa said, is there going to be a Kobo Clara 2 soon?
So I have heard at least one new Kobo device is coming out between now and the end of the year. I don't know, because nothing's hit the FCC yet. You generally, when new devices hit the FCC, you get to know a little bit about it. They tend to upload just like the quick start guide and a few pictures, but they don't, like, everything else is like under embargo for like 6 months. So that's sort of the thing with like FCC applications. Like they tend to have like embargoes for like the full user guide, all of the pictures, like, a write-up and stuff like that. You only really know a little bit about, like, say, does it have Bluetooth? Does it have Wi-Fi? What is the battery size? And other things. Like, and you normally extrapolate based on like the hardware on what it'll be. And sometimes they'll take a picture of the front and the back, and they'll have actually rulers next to it, like in an L shape. So you can kind of get a sense on like, this is the size of the screen that they're going to be like releasing. So far nothing has been released. Pretty well because all of Kobo's FCC filings are not done through Kobo. They're done through Nektronics, which does like all of the manufacturing for Kobo. So nothing's hit that yet. But as soon as they do, just keep reading our news website and we'll report on it as it comes on. But yeah, I mean, the Forma, the Clara, they pretty well are due for a refresh. The Libra and the Nia are pretty well like their newer sort of devices. I think they came out like in 2020. So
they have the Libra H2O, which is a miniature version of the Forma. The Forma is 8-inch. The Libra H2O is 7 inches, and it's the same kind of layout. It's got the asymmetrical design, physical page turn buttons, except it's a little bit more eco than luxury. But yeah, they're all I mean, due for an update.
Like, if they are going to release something this year, they'll have to pretty well announce it and put it out for sale like in November, because like if they don't do it in November, like November, December are like the 2 most important months of the year for like anybody who sells consumer electronics. Like
more so November, because of the current climate of the whole virus and everything.
Black Friday deals
are still slower,
for Christmas presents. Like, so Kobo basically has until the end of this next week, and then all of like October to announce something, or otherwise they won't release anything.
Right. We hit our 1 hour, and I don't want people to get too drowned out by us rambling, because we do these for you guys, and we want you guys to stick around and appreciate what us giving back and answering all your questions and everything. But we don't want too many of you to drop off and start hating us. So we'll leave it at that for now. But we are going to be doing these every once in a while. We won't spam you guys once per week. It's just there's not enough to report once per week.
Yeah, the industry, like e-reader industry, like in terms of release dates, not much happens like week to week or even like month to month. Maybe like at this time of year, like the fourth quarter of the year, like that's when like the most new devices like come out. But since like we've last talked to you guys maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, like the Quadernos came out, Onyx Book released a few new devices. So generally we're going to try to do this like once a month and then just talk about anything new that's been announced, trends for like next year, so we'll be able to like better the flow of our conversation and what we have to talk about will be a little bit more pronounced, just because so much time has passed in between shows, so we'll be able to actually have a lot of stuff to talk about. So
the next quarter is going to be really good. We have Amazon, Barnes and Noble, potentially Kobo. We have Pocketbook just released that. We'll talk about that later. We have a new DES slurry. We have several new Onyxes. That's some big names in the industry. That's as big as you can get. So the next couple months to come will be huge for discussion, and a ton of videos and a ton of articles on the news publication will be popping up because it's just so much stuff is coming out.
We're literally swamped with the number of things that we got, and we have things that like we're not even sure that we want to do reviews with. Like we got like a book scanner, like that scans books and digitizes them.
That's right. Kaite Plus Corporation in Japan sent us the new Kaite. It's not 10.3, it's not 13.3, it's 43 inches. We're going to be doing a video on that as well. There's a lot of stuff happening, man. And it's in fact a little bit too much.
It's literally like a 40-inch digital whiteboard that's not using e-ink, and it's like $300 or less. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's like perfect for like the home office, or like to replace like a typical whiteboard, like at your business or school or something like that, because you can like draw and then you just like take an eraser and you can just like erase everything that you drew, and there's like no ghosting, no staining or anything like that. It's not using e-ink, it's using like positively, negatively charged like particles to like draw and then erase.
It's like a boogie board on steroids, because a boogie board is all like purple and green and black, and you press it and it deletes. Like, it's not about that. This is a black and white experience, super high res. You point your camera at it, it saves the note. You have an app that goes along with it. It's a whole thing. It's huge. So we actually have to redesign some stuff in the studio to accommodate it.
It's hard. We're not equipped. We're not equipped to like for our standard video shots to like do something that's like the size of like a TV.
It couldn't fit on the review table because the biggest we did was the Guido. It's like 26 inches, and we're like, wow, it's big. This is 43. It's like a flat screen TV being on a review table. We were like, yeah, we got to do this in the loading bay outside. So we actually did, and a video will be coming up soon. But there's a bunch of new stuff, man. Skagen has a new e-ink smartwatch, very similar to the Fossil that just got released. Like, there's a lot of stuff. So if you're going to hear it anywhere, you're going to hear it from us.
So for the daily news, make sure that you visit our website at goodereader.com. That's like where we talk about all of like the leaks, rumors, if there's official confirmation about new devices like occurring, that's where we're going to talk about it. We break a lot of stories that get picked up by like traditional news companies and like online like tech companies too. So when there's rumors of a new thing, TechCrunch and The Verge and Engadget, they read us. That's where they find out about everything. So if you want us to learn more about stuff, we've done like reviews on literally everything that's like come out in China and North America and Europe, as well as new devices that are going to be coming out. So this is the best time of year. Everything's coming out now. So new Kindles, new this, new that, and other things. So it's going to be awesome. So I'm super stoked because like the last 3 months of the year is like when all the big boys release like stuff, and all throughout the year, that's like when like a new pocketbook color will come out, or a new
Yeah.
Onyx book color will come out. And I mean, not to knock it, like I'm super excited about that, but it's spread out through the year. You know what I mean? Like one may come out in February, and then another one will come out in the summer. And so
Yeah.
between then and now, it's like there really isn't too much happening in the e-reader industry, but everybody wants to like do something new for Christmas and for like New Year's and for Black Friday and stuff like that. So everyone's like getting super pushed out. If you're waiting to buy an e-reader, like wait till Black Friday. Like for you Americans, it'll be like end of like November, and for
Hmm.
Canadians, it'll be like at the end of October, isn't it? I don't even remember.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's like different Thanksgivings and stuff too, but likely you'll hear a lot of advertisement about Black Friday, but it will be in the month to come. So if you're still on the fence, I know that right when we announced the Paperwhite 5, everyone's like dot dot dot. I just bought a Paperwhite 4. So just
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
yeah, there's a ton of stuff coming out. We have stuff just stacked that I have to take home and literally do homework on before I go into work because there's so much stuff. Just maybe wait a little bit if you're on the fence about buying something. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming out from the big three as well: Amazon, Kobo, Barnes and Noble. So just maybe check out our website and be like, maybe this will be the right thing to get. I live in America. This will be the right thing to get, etc. So, keep checking out Good e-Reader because that's where you'll find the answers.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. We've loved talking to you today, and we'll be back at the last Friday of next month to
Correct.
go over everything that's happened from now until then. But from now until then, everybody have a nice day.